Shaker schools pay the highest teacher salaries in Ohio, and that probably accounts for the excellent standards maintained by those teachers. However, the schools consistently produce students who perform 50 to 60 percentage points better on national tests than other schools. Perhaps the answer is to be found in the elementary schools.
And you want to remember to be
At Ludlow
sensitive
School, where innovative programs have frequently been developed, they have a 4th and 5th grade special projects class, where delightful forays into creative thinking take place.
You want to use the act of synergy or thinking synectically, where you take something that is very different from another thing, and you look at both of them separately and come up with a third idea that is yet different from each of the first two that you had. And if you're lucky, at the end you will have a serendipity, a happy accident where you come up with an understanding of those things that you were examining in a new way that you had never experienced before. Mr. Aristotle tells us that we are supposed to be the master of a metaphor, to be able to make comparisons. And so this morning we're going to do just that and make some comparisons between things that don't seem anywhat alike. An amoeba, a folded piece of paper, and the Massachusetts Bay Colony. We're going to turn to mathematics, we're going to turn to biology, and we're going to turn to history for our synectic thinking.
Which is freer, an amoeba or a Puritan in Massachusetts?
I think a Puritan in Massachusetts is more freer because a lot of them, they were leaders of their own selves, and they went out and made new colonies, and they were leaders, but amoebas, all they can do is like reproduce. And
I think an amoeba is because a Puritan has to satisfy a lot of leaders, and an amoeba just has to satisfy one nucleus.
I agree with Dub because an amoeba, it can control itself, and it doesn't have to listen to anybody else. While a Puritan in Massachusetts, it has to listen to somebody else or break up with a certain colony and be fast, or be caught and be punished.
All right, boys and girls, we're going to try to wrap up our discussion now today, and as we have talked on many occasions, that the key difference between what we do in this class and what you might have been doing in some other classes is how much we focus upon thinking skills. And today you've been focusing particularly upon your creative thinking and your synectic thinking. The hope is that by so doing you will come away with some new understandings about the amoeba as well as about the Massachusetts Bay Colony that we've been talking about in social studies. What are some of these things that you have learned from thinking synectically or metaphorically today? Allison?
But you gotta conform to the point where you can have the opportunity to be an individual. Believe me, if you're unhappy, your individualism goes out the window. Because you don't think about anything but trying to achieve happiness, and you'll get into doing it in any kind of way you can, and 99 out of 100 times, it's not going to be the way that is going to make you happy.
Austin Carr is a professional basketball player, but today he's talking about life and motivation and drive. And he has a responsive audience here in the alternate school in Shaker High. At Shaker High School, the alternative school is an experiment with a realization in human potential. It's for students who, for one reason or another, aren't highly motivated in the regular school atmosphere. The director of the school, Yolanda McKinney, is a no-nonsense lady.
I've worked with young people for, I guess for the past 10, 11 years now. And I feel that they need guidance. And I'm not a free-thinking person. I don't believe in sit the child down and let him explore and he'll find what he wants. I think that young people need to be guided. I think that they want to be guided. They want to know that there's somebody who's concerned about whether they make it or not, whether they get algebra, whether they get the English, or whether they know how to read. I think they want to know that, and I think they enjoy having people there being responsive to them and to their needs.
I cut a lot, like all the time, and I wasn't in school for like the last 2 months of school, and my parents never knew because...
Lauren Galley is a student who felt like dropping out before her junior year. She says she just didn't like school as it was.
You know, I had the potential, but I just never went to class, and if I did go to class, I usually would talk or, you know, daydream or something and wouldn't pay attention to the teacher. So that was the main reason why I came down here.
Are you glad you did?
Yeah, very glad.
Lauren is a participant in the work-study program. Like many Shaker students, she gets credit for work. At Sussex School, Lauren helps with the elementary school children during their lunch hour. And later in the day, she works at her family's garden center.
Okay.
Here's a harder one. This one here.
Oh, that's nice. That's gorgeous.
And we have in other colors, I think.
Well, sometimes I go swimming at, well, I used to go swimming at Thornton, but now I go swimming at Woodbury for open swims and things like that. I go to the movies once in a while, I go shopping with my mother, and I sew.
What do you do on your spare time that's not related with school?
Generally, I work with photography, take pictures, and I'm presently working with the Gospel production in St. Dominic's Church.
Go see friends, go with friends, places, random mall.
Well, usually I go to the movies or I go to the library, ride my bicycle, or watch television or something.
Play basketball, talk to people, have fun.
I program computers.
Usually we just like cruise around or we go to a couple concerts when something's good coming around.
Well, I read a lot, and sometimes I go out and hang out with friends. Just have a good time.
Go to movies, roam around with the friends.
Go up to Randall. Last week we went and we went to West Side and we go-karted. And sometimes we go and we organize our own football games.
There's a line that runs, where did you go out? What did you do? Nothing. But that's not true in Shaker Heights in the main. As you heard in a few selected comments from students at Shaker High School, our youth are engaged in a wide range of activities. They've been involved in activities centering around their school, their neighborhoods, their friends, and families.